Hi.
Back to another episode. Hi. Welcome back to another Galactic Explorers episode with Dallas and myself, your favorite friendly neighborhood channelers. And welcome to the podcast where we take you through the everyday earthly or spiritual concepts and ideas, issues and problems with that galactic perspective. Today, I think we're pulling from the bowl. So what kind of viewer questions do we have coming from the bowl today, darling?
Let's find out, shall
Let's
we?
find out.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. I don't know what it is, but it's
Oh,
going
it's
to be
always
a
a
good
good one.
one.
It's always
Really
good.
going to mix it. Look at me. I look weird. Ooh. I don't know if we want to do it. It's law of attraction.
Do it. We were just talking about it.
I
Our last
know.
episode. It just feeds right into it. It's fine.
It's so funny though. It's like, oh.
I saw your face and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good.
I'm like,
I was like, what thing that we were just talking about is it gonna be?
of course. Why? Like, get into it. Just get into it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Do it. Do it. Law of attraction. Law of attraction.
Law of attraction. All right, so lady, when you think of the law of attraction, what do you know of the law of attraction traditionally? What comes to mind when you think of law of attraction and how it works and all the rest of that good
So,
stuff?
of course, I'll tell you my journey of it because I do think of The Secret because that is how I started. Really, it was on Netflix. We're like, hey, what's this? Let's just watch it. I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing stuff. Like a lot of stuff that I've always kind of thought of, or like, yeah, like it just, I had a name, I could have some tools to really like start it. So I did a vision board
Yep.
and really started like doing those like little meditations of like, okay, I'm going to sit and think about, a future, or I'm going to think about something that's, that I desire, and what my life could be
Yep.
like, and what I do want it to be like. And it really actually did open a door for me.
Yeah.
It opened my door of like, I was like, okay, I got to get the book, and I got the book, and then I watched the movie a couple more times, and I really was just trying to get into that at the time vibration of it all, and understanding of like, okay, how do these people really attract all this stuff, the money,
Right.
the cars, the job, whatever it was, like, then really things just kind of started opening and going down a rabbit hole of, I got a job, I got a really cool job, right? And then they really liked me, and I got promoted, and it was just like thing. And then I went to school, and I was going towards a career field, and like I think we're lining up. And I really contribute back to The Secret of like kind of the tools they had.
Right.
And where I am now, I think of, we talked about in our last one, of it is a vibration, and I see it more as I really feel the sensation and emotions and the excitement of what I desire or what can come, and I don't
Right.
make like it has to look this way. I
Yeah,
just,
I was gonna
okay,
say
I
this. Like, what
want
do you think is
to.
the one thing that keeps people from making it work? The law of attraction.
I think
I think it would be
you
that.
have like, yeah, the one detail, like you have so many little details that you're focused on that, and not the excitement and joy of
Mm-hmm.
going on a trip,
Yep.
right? Like it doesn't always have to be Costa Rica. Maybe it's Hawaii, right?
Right.
Like I've always wanted to go to Costa Rica, and I've had this focus. But guess where I went last year? I went to Hawaii. Isn't that an island with beaches and stuff? I mean,
Beautiful sun. Yeah. Like food. Yeah.
right? So it's like you got to just kind of be open. I mean, you can have those destinations, or kind of a, I want a new car. What does that look like? Like one of the things to talk about, like, okay, feel the steering wheel, like hear the radio. I think it's bringing all the sensations of our senses into it,
Mm-hmm.
embodying that physical whole body thing of, I'm sitting in my car, I feel the steering wheel, I feel how comfortable the seat is, I can roll the windows down, or if it's top, whatever you want and imagine, like you feel good, you feel carefree, you feel like you deserve this, it's
Right.
worthy, it's yours, and the way you got it was just like this. And it's just the emotion, the buildup of it, that I love the buildup of it,
Yeah.
because it's exciting,
Yeah.
of whatever you want to desire or attract. It's, I think, the excitement and the game of it. It's a game
Yeah.
almost,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, it's totally
Like,
a game. Yeah. Well, you have to play it as a game because I
yeah,
think,
I'm like, ooh, what am I going to get?
yeah,
What am I
because I
going to
think
get? Maybe I might not get a Ferrari, but
right.
I might get a really cool car or a minivan or something,
Yeah.
which
Hate
I
selling a
love my
minivan.
right now. It serves a purpose. It stores a
Okay.
lot. I can take my kids and the dog and pack a bunch of shit and it works.
Excellent.
So
Does
yay.
it have a sunroof?
No, not this one. Maybe the next one. Hey, but it's my joy and excitement, right? So that's
Right.
what it's all about. It's about what brings you happiness and excitement of whatever you want, but
Yeah.
not labeling or sticking a time frame or
Yep.
the total, like it's
It's
got
the
to come.
expectation.
Yeah. Yeah.
The expectation that it has to come out exactly how you saw it, when you saw it happening. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's always been the hardest part for me
Yeah. Yeah.
too,
How's it for you?
is to like let it go, is supposed to let the expectation go.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, when, like you said, when you just work the tools, sometimes even if you don't know why they work, they still work.
Mm-hmm.
If you know why they work, they can work even better. But it's always been that expectation that I find in the past will have tripped me up,
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Sure.
like you said, it's like you focus on that one ideal to the point where you're not allowing anything else to create that excitement for you other than that thing that you thought of.
Right. Yes.
So
Yes.
you start getting really exclusionary,
Mm-hmm.
and it basically hog ties your higher self or universes or gods, or however you want to put it, like the ability for you to manifest,
Right.
for you to receive from your higher self or god or universal word, like that's always been that, because when I drop it, it works great.
Oh
Absolutely
yeah.
works great.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely works great. But it's like when our logical brain gets so caught up in the image that it's presented,
Mm-hmm.
that we end up shooting ourselves in the foot with it.
Yeah.
And then I spiraling rabbit holes the other way, where it's like, oh, I didn't manifest what I wanted, how I wanted.
Right. And then they stop. You give up.
Right.
You don't do it anymore.
Right. And it does, like you said, have to do too all about the feeling that you have when you're working with that tool, because it is feeling based and not actually thought based.
Yes. I'm going to have to throw this out here too. It's
Yeah.
gratitude.
That's an interesting one. That's something I'm actually going to bring up in the academy next week, because it's something that Sherry was talking about. One of my students, is that it's like gratitude is a great tool, but it can so easily be misconstrued to end up being something that, again, you end up hog tying yourself with, spiritually, which is interesting, because
Right.
it's like that idea where it's like, yeah, I express gratitude for everything, but in those moments, sometimes it's like, for instance, if you're not expressing gratitude at everything at every turn, then somehow like your brain will tell you that you're not being spiritual and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. which by letting you tell yourself that you're not being spiritual and doing what you're supposed to do, like you put guilt and shame and all the rest of those feelings in yourself, and then that fucks up what you're doing.
Right.
It's so interesting how it like can spiral in both directions.
Oh, it can. And you have gratitude is not like it is a tricky one. It's not
Right?
like how do I want to say this? Like it's the only way, okay, I'll use an example.
Go for it.
Um, when I had my second child, I had a breast pump, and so I was
Mhm.
pumping and pumping and pumping. And every time I pumped, I thanked my body because I didn't produce a lot of milk. But I thanked my body. Thank you for the opportunity to do this. Thank you for, being able to experience this. Thank you for the pump that I have,
Right.
and that the insurance took care of it. And thank you for, my work letting me, have time to do this for myself and for my child. And, like I gave gratitude in such that way
Hmm.
where I ended up when I was done with the pump, I returned it and they're like, oh, you actually owe like da 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 your insurance to do this. And I was like, I don't got that money. I can't pay it. I was like, then I was like, oh my God, like I owe this money and I don't have money to pay it. I was like heartbroken. I was like, I don't know what to do. And the lady's like, well, hold on. She went back to her manager and she goes, well, we can do a payment plan. I said, thank you. Thank you for doing that for me. So I put, what I could down. And she goes, okay, we'll come back next week. And okay, I'll be here next week and I'll do it. So I came back, I did it. And she goes, well, thank you for coming and doing this. She goes, we went ahead and take care of the rest of your bill for you. So don't worry about it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like I had to meet in the middle. And that's what it's about is meeting in the
Hmm.
middle of it.
Boom.
Of it's not like I'm just going to give gratitude and you should just take it. It's like I was literally like willing to do my part of like, okay, I do owe this. So what do well, I can only do this. Can you accept it? And they worked on
Right.
their part for it. But then it was like I made the effort to try.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like you made the effort to like go with it, like
Right.
with what was presented to you.
Right.
To
Yeah.
like work with it the best of your ability, what was presented to you, and then the next time you came around, it was already taken care of.
Right. So it was like
Which is
I
totally a great example of that, keeping
yeah,
in state despite what happens at first that may not be like your ideal outcome of that situation, what may
right.
not at first appear to be the ideal outcome to said situation.
Right. Yeah.
If
And
you
then
just like maintain that, okay, this is somehow this is like for the greater good of whatever's going on, so I'm just going to do my best to go with the flow, and like you said, meet in the middle, and okay, well, this is a sock in the gut, but we'll work it out and figure it out and go with the flow. And then like you said, you turn right back around next week and it was done, taken care of, didn't owe anymore, like
right.
didn't have to
It
fuss
was just
with it.
and I couldn't like for me that was a huge catalyst
Sure.
of
Yeah, I can see why.
okay, like I sat every time with that freaking pump for months going, thank you, just the graciousness of having it, the experience, and, really just kind of manifesting like, I've manifested so much in that little, like there, I just remember like I'm getting the feelings now of just the excitement, but like the whole experience of it was just such a beautiful experience and it really catapulted me to like where I am now and all the things that I have and experienced and like manifested, was like, okay, I took the time
Right.
to think and feel and give gratitude and be excited about things and then on the outside have some kind of turbulence, but then I was like you said, I just went with the flow with it. It did the best that I could at that time and I
Right.
was met in the middle with somebody that was willing to like help me, and it was like, oh, okay,
Yeah, and then you
cool.
turn around and it's all like, yeah.
Yeah, and then turned around and I went and gave a great review and that their staff was awesome and amazing and helped me out in so many ways, so it was like I was truly truly grateful for that whole experience for so many reasons that it showed me of like, okay, we are master
This
manifestors
can be
and
a
we
thing.
can
Yeah.
be in the moment, and it's totally being embodied with it. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
you talk about the one, it's about being in your body. It's about feeling every sensation and just going, okay, this is my power, that I'm human and we can feel and we can manifest through these feelings and
Yep.
emotions and be on the other side of stuff, you know, go through the turbulence because it's going to happen and not give up. You
Because
just,
it's
it's
never
a
really
muscle,
that. It's like, yeah, it's never really
right?
that bad in that sense where it's like yeah, it's interesting how it seems to throw you or wants to throw you for a loop in the moment. But if you just so the thing that came to mind that I kind of want to throw out there, kind of going back to the idea of like what is gratitude in that sense,
Hmm.
because it's like people talk about having a gratitude practice.
Hmm.
And interestingly enough, it's like because we were talking about triggers on that last episode, and since this is coming up for me, I'm totally just going to run with it.
Yes, do it.
The whole idea of having a gratitude practice pisses me off. Like,
That's right.
I hate to admit it, but here's the thing. Here's why. People, it's almost like, ah, Jesus. Okay. See, I'll deal with that later. It's like the thing where it could be, I mean, it could be any practice. I mean, sometimes like yoga or meditation, you know, like any of these things, but it's like people take on this practice and because they've taken on this particular practice, they assume that A, they're now spiritual, and B, that's all the work that they have to do, and C, that now everything's just going to work out. Just out of the, just because I have given gratitude today.
Yeah,
I
no.
was a good person today.
Yeah,
Like
no.
that whole aspect of it, because they aren't really understanding really what the whole idea of gratitude practice really is.
Hmm.
Because it's like, you know, they would say it's like, oh, because you need to give gratitude for what you're given, because you need to be grateful, because it's like there's it's and it's almost that whole sense of like you need to be grateful is like almost creating an obligatory, like a spiritual
Right.
obligatory sort of situation, which pisses me off.
I get it. There is that line. I totally
Right?
understand. And it does piss me off too that people take advantage of that spirituality.
Right.
And I'm so grateful for the, it's like, hold
Horse and
stop.
horses. Because they're not using it for real. So what you're talking about in your experience is you were actually using it for real, unbeknownst to you, consciously, in
Hmm.
that sense of because you were sitting there and not even because you were giving gratitude to the pump itself or to whatever thing or for whatever thing or even to your body, interestingly enough. It's like not that you were necessarily pointing that gratitude at any one thing that was the importance of it. It was the fact that you were sitting there and generating a
Hmm.
force field of frequency of a particular frequency through the feeling that you created
Hmm.
by spending time mentally creating gratitude in those moments.
Hmm.
Because the idea of any practice is to change your frequency,
Yeah, I'll totally, yes,
all of it.
definitely. Absolutely. And it,
So, in feeling
yeah.
the feeling, right? Because if you can feel the feeling, like we were talking about in the last episode, you feel that wellspring of emotion, whether that's gratitude, whether that's joy, excitement, hate, anger, rage, pain, disappointment. It all is the same, like it spreads from within, you know, like so what you were doing consciously, unconsciously, consciously was taking those moments and out of your day where you may not otherwise have been putting those particular types of frequency stones in the river
Yeah.
or in the pond, you are
Hmm.
taking time to purposefully, unknowingly, knowingly put different frequency stones in the pond.
Oh
So
yeah,
that was what reverberates back to you. Because
right.
what most people don't realize, and Louise Hay talked about this a lot, is that, yeah, you can sit there and do your, your 15 minutes worth of affirmations to and from work on your way, going to work. But what are you thinking and feeling the whole rest of your day?
Right.
The
Yes.
whole rest of your day. Because if you think about it, the amount of time that you spend putting out negative emotions, and this is
Yeah.
what the law of attraction and all of this stuff, affirmations, it all like, makes a big biscuit over here. And like, these are all ingredients to the same thing.
Yep.
Is like, how much time do you spend feeling grateful in your case, right? How much time do you spend feeling powerful doing your affirmations
Yes.
versus
Yeah.
how much time do you spend in other potentially more negative, what we would call negative or lower frequency states? That's more of what you're rippling out into the pond more often
Right.
than the good stuff, quote
Right.
unquote good stuff.
Yeah.
So you expect the good stuff to come back to you when 90% of the time you're putting out the lower frequency stuff. And that's not how it works.
No, and that you said something very important. You're expecting something to come back to you. I wasn't expecting anything to come back to me too. And I never told anybody this. I
Right.
never told my husband about sitting in that. I worked in a condo place and I sat
Mhm.
up in the penthouse looking over the view and was like, and I was in a different vibration. I was feeling like I'm feeling it right now. And it was like such a joy. I was so
Yeah.
happy and joyful, right? Like, but wasn't expecting anything from anybody else. And I wasn't expecting to share it or I did this and look at me. Like
Right.
that's where people go where I did this. You should be grateful I did this.
Right.
No, you should never expect anything in return. You're in the moment, you feel the gratitude or whatever you
That's a
want,
whole nother topic, is gift giving and being in the moment. And
right?
like, oh my God,
But you should never ever,
whole
with
other topic.
even attracting, you should just be excited about it. Like that's the only thing is you should just be
Yep.
in the moment, and you're just excited and you're happy and you're here and you know that the universe has got your back. And if you look at it, I see it as a magical thing.
Absolutely. Because it's an ability. That's what we were talking
Right.
about, is like the law of attraction is the human superpower.
It
And
is.
since the universe works based off of feeling frequency,
Right.
we had like, this is a frequency generator,
Yep.
literally part of what it does.
Yep.
So that is part of what we do. That's like how we interact. And it's like, what did they say? It's like the universe is not an observing universe, it's an interactive universe.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed
Yes.
to just sit back and watch. Like, you're supposed to, like, you are always interacting with it. You are
Mhm.
always manifesting. You don't have to learn to manifest or learn to do jack shit to do the law of attraction.
Right. You're just in the moment. You're being present. You're in your physical body. You're in
Right.
it. And
But
you're
then
in
to
the
also
moment.
consciously create those moments, if you realize that you are in a place of quote unquote stuck or stagnation, you spend
Yep.
most of your time in a lot of the lower emotions and things like quote unquote lower emotions. That's where you have your power, where you can sit there. Like, that's where the use of the tools like affirmations or gratitude practice or whatever, when used earnestly, understanding that it's about changing your frequency of feeling
Mm-hmm.
to do those practices. So it could be dancing, it could be singing, it could be hiking, it could
Right.
whatever practice changes your fucking frequency, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But that's where you have your superpower, where you can make the choice and go, you know what, I've been feeling really shitty lately, I'm going to go do something nice with myself,
Yep.
because I know that that's what's, I'm going to change my frequency.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to change what stones I'm putting out in the fucking pond, because the pond is reflecting back to me right now that I am not in a good place.
Right. So how
So
can I
here we
change
go.
that?
Let me start changing the stone. Oh, okay. That's what the reflection's showing me. Oh shit. Because that's all that it is. It's like, if everything starts going wrong in your life and you're starting to get all kinds of bad luck and stuff, that's just all that is a mirror to look at yourself and go, oh shit, gut check.
you have to look at your shit.
Yeah, it's like, have I been checking in with myself? Have I been acknowledging how I've been feeling? Have I been listening to my gut instinct? Have I been, like, that's literally the universe's way of giving you a gut check.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take it or leave it. It doesn't matter. It's not like it's going to stop loving you or it's going to judge you or anything, but it's just like, that's just the way it works. So if you want that reflection to smile at you, you have to smile at the reflection first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put that happy, that emotion, that gratitude, like whatever emotion you're using to conjure up the feeling frequency of that wellspring, like you're talking about, that feeling of excitement, of joy, of like not needing to, be thanked, of just being in the moment. The more you bring that up, the more of those stones you throw in the fucking pond, the more that's going to be what's reflected back at you. End of story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the universe, and this is something we talked about or touched on last time. Whoop, we're going over a little time now. See, we got excited in the moment.
Yep.
And now my trainers aren't coming at all, so I am not on a time frame at all. That was that face where I was like,
I figured.
Deal with this later. But the fact that I could just be all like, I'll deal with this, it's like, as opposed to, I know a couple of years ago, that would have completely thrown me off. Like we may have totally stopped the podcast because I would have just been so pissed off that I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Like it would have totally thrown me off kilter. But by doing the practices and spending more time in that feeling of frequency, you can just move through these kind of things, like these like disappointing things where it's like you set up appointments and then they can't follow through because it's like literally through no fault of her own. Woman ended up short staffed and a mom and pop dog trainer. So it's like, what are you gonna know? But
ebb and flow, man.
Ebb and flow. But the thing that we were talking about last week that Bashar was saying was, oh shit, where'd it go? Is that
power of emotion?
Well, yes, the power of emotion. Oh my God, what was it? It was something very specific. It was that quote. I shared it with you last week. Hold on. Okay, so I think I got it. Pause. I had to go find it, you guys. I had to go up into the archives and find it. No, but what he was talking about was that your thoughts aren't what control what goes in the pond. We get taught that it's our thoughts that create our reality. Wrong. Thank God. Am I right?
Yeah.
But what the idea is that you're using your thoughts as a tool. So your thoughts can generate those feelings. The ability to generate that feeling is putting the frequency stones out into the pond. The ability to generate that feeling frequency with whatever emotion that you so choose on command is the mastery.
Hell yeah.
No matter what's going on around you. That's why Bashar is always saying it's like the circumstances don't matter, only your state of being matters. I love that. I know. Because regardless of the circumstance, if you can use your tools that we share with you all the time, week by week by week as we go, like if you use your tools in the moment and gently self-correct, the mirror will begin to self-correct. Because if you start smiling at the mirror, if you do things to make yourself smile at the mirror then smiles back. But instead of allowing your thoughts to run the show and think that they're in charge and just let them run away with you whenever anything doesn't quite go your way, particularly when you're trying to work the law of attraction, and let them spiral you down that negative rabbit hole, you can stop yourself by using a lot like the technique that we shared last week. So go check that one out. But you can stop yourself and reclaim that moment and move forward, continuing to put the quote unquote positive stones of frequency into the pond. And that's how people are always constantly quote unquote manifesting positive things, because you're always manifesting.
Just whatever you're manifesting.
It's
That.
whatever you're feeling. It's literally predominantly whatever you're feeling
Mm-hmm.
shows in the outside world.
Mm-hmm. So to go on that, it's being in that frequency. So if you're around people in a lower vibration, you're going to stay in that low vibration, and you will have, it
You'll
is
have a
still
harder time
possible.
pulling yourself up.
Yeah,
You just
you
will.
will. You'll have a hard time because you're surrounded with those negative feelings and
Right.
thoughts and
Well, at least
reactions
at first
from
you'll have a
others.
hard time, because once
At
you
first,
clue into
yes,
it, though,
yes,
at some point it won't bother you anymore, because you just look at him and go, oh, bless him. And then, you move on. But it's like, yeah, it's at first can definitely be a hurdle to relearning how to take your power back, essentially, when you're working the law of attraction and things like that, when you're just figuring it out, is to
right.
maybe take a look at who you're hanging out with and see if there's any places where you're not feeling your best
Because
with
I
who
feel
you're
that
with, or
when
yeah,
you do this kind of work, it's going to change your whole entire life.
agreed.
And
Absolutely.
that makes you look at things totally differently because you're on a different wavelength.
Yeah.
You're on a different frequency where your partner might not be on that same frequency as you are.
Right. We did an
That
episode
doesn't
about
mean you,
that.
right. A whole other subject.
Whole other subject. It's up there. Go check it out.
But you just still change. Everything will change around you when you just stay true to yourself, stay, within your boundaries, not bumping up or having put in those expectations of other people either. Of like, well, you got to think this way. No, this is on you.
Right. And that's another hard one too. It's like for the particularly logic-y minds, where it's like easy to create expectations of other people
Mm-hmm.
and how they're supposed to play their role in your game,
Right.
right? And how they're supposed to play it, like how things are supposed to play out
Yeah.
with them or through them, or including them or not including them, or whatever, as part of your higher ideal that you got in your brain. That's where I was going to go with. Thanks. That's the other point that I was going to go with, was that because that thing in your brain that you think is the best thing, the most possible, best possible outcome that you can think of, in reality, that's actually the least best, most exciting thing that your higher self can think of.
Right. Yeah. So you didn't get your dream job, but guess what? There's that other job that's coming around the corner that's
Right,
just as good.
right. It also reminds me, and anytime this happens in life, I turn to Frank and I say this fucking quote, and he's like, "Yep," because he's starting to recognize it too. And it's funny because it's like, I love shows where you can like make those like metaphors too, or allegories too, and
Yep.
it's like that helps
Mm-hmm.
explain across the, what do you say, communication barrier,
Yep.
because he's so logically and scientifically like he's a certain minded, so to try and explain some of these concepts and how they function and work to his mind, and like how it, there it is working, that's it, there it is,
Right.
to do,
Yeah.
to like have that explained in a way that clicks for him, is like,
Mm-hmm.
always great to find those things. So that quote is from a show called Community, which I think you've seen a little bit of,
Oh yeah.
or bit of. It's from this character. Well, it involves two characters, but one character is talking about another one, and it's this character called Abed, and he's kind of special. It's like they say he's on the spectrum, but it's like, it's like basically he's a magical elf-like man that makes all of our lives more magical just by being around it. We don't need to make him less magical. We need to make our lives more magical, right? So they were talking about, that kind of describes him. So if you've ever seen the show, you know who I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen the show, go check it out, because I do love the show.
Mm-hmm.
But the another character, Jeff, was talking about Abed and the way he works. So it's like, because he is this magical person, right? And this is the metaphor to how your higher self works. So anytime this happens and I witness it in life, I use this quote and point it from, like, this is it happening. This is the manifestation. This is it right here. This is law of attraction right here. And the quote is, so you ask Abed for a spoon and he gives you a bowl of soup. And you're like, the fuck? But you should like the soup. I mean, it's not that you should like the soup, but it's like, why does Abed give you soup instead of a spoon, even though you asked for a spoon? Because soup is better. It's like, you ask the higher self for a spoon and it gives you soup, and you're sitting there looking at your higher self going, what the fuck? I didn't ask for a spoon or a soup. I asked for a spoon. Why'd you give me this? And it goes, because soup is better.
I love it.
So literally the best thing that you can think of is not better.
Right? No,
not at all.
I love that. Yeah.
Go through life with that kind of idea and perspective as you work with your law of attraction ideas and tools and stuff like that, and realizing that you're working with the feeling. The more of the feeling that you can produce throughout your day, and in addition to not having those expectations of getting your spoon.
Right.
Because having the expectation of getting spoon and only accepting spoon will keep you from getting the soup.
Yeah.
And it's literally as crazy, paradoxically simple as that.
Right. I love it.
I love that show.
Yeah, it's a good show. I love that show. Oh my God, it's so funny.
But so that basically kind of sums up law of attraction in that sense, where it's like you're talking to your higher self and you're sending out these vibrations by, this is what I get excited about in this, idea topic. All right, show me what you got.
Yep.
I'm asking for this, but I know you got something better.
Right.
What you got? Let's see what you got.
What is it?
Right?
Yep.
So if you go through like that and then you just drop it, because it's like, let's see what you got, because you're waiting to be surprised.
Yeah, you don't obsess over it.
Exactly. Instead of obsessing over the expectation, which is where I've had that learning curve. Like you were saying, it's like learning to making the thing, it's like realizing that, yes, it's a game in and of its sense, but enjoying the buildup, enjoying the excitement of the buildup of like, oh my God, like, what's it going to be? I don't know. Let's find out. That thing.
Yeah.
Totally. It's been learning. That's been the learning journey for me, is like letting that aspect of it, because I can do the feeling part of it, the vision, vision boarding and, visualization and, connecting to the feeling. Like I could do that for days. Yeah. Right. Easy. Most people can. But the thing that they get tripped up on is that expectation bit of expecting to see that fucking spoon come around the corner. When really there's a bowl of soup sitting on the desk right there already for you.
Right.
Kind of, right.
Yep. It's a journey. It's totally a journey. And you have to appreciate the journey of it and learning, because you'll use it on your own terms, and you'll because you'll definitely learn to use the tools on your own terms, because that's a huge part of the it's a trial and error on everything. And it's a good error. It's always a good error. That's the thing. Yeah. If you look at it, it's like, okay, this is a different experience. How am I going to modify it?
Right.
What can I do differently next time?
Yep. Yeah, there's a it's like song that I've been listening to that part of the lyrics literally go, fuck repercussions, I'm living and learning.
Yeah.
Working and earning and sharing my sermon. Preach.
Right? Totally. It's
like, I mean, yeah. So
it's a beautiful thing. Law of
attraction. The law of attraction. Law of attraction has been sucked. As it were.
From a galactic perspective.
Oh my God, we are too weird. I love it. But thank you guys for going on the joyride with us. If you have any more questions about how it works and how it can work better for you and all of that stuff, or any other topics that you'd like for us to cover, always drop them below in the comments. We love hearing from you guys and getting topics and stuff and things to talk about that help you. So to that point, like, subscribe, and share with all your friends and family who would actually be able to hear what we're saying. And Pootie says hi. She's like, no. No, I will say hi on my own terms. Thank you very much. Okay, bye. Booty is not amused. Get off the screen already. Let's go.
That's me.
And on that note.